let's just do a little bit on the sort of three-dimensional aiming. I think for me, the big thing with this, if I sort of keep relating back to the status quo and the way that the game is taught, and the big thing that I learnt from you is that it's the way that it's taught is two-dimensional. It's just these lines across your feet, and it's a line in ball position, and try to say that those things completely relate to where the ball's going to go, and I think I completely understand now that they just do not.
Well, again, assuming that somebody has an understanding of the idea of one motion in one place, so that puts it all down to the aiming. If you're good at doing that, if you can do that, then you'll hit it exactly as well as you can point it. And that's kind of where I'm at the moment. I hit it as straight as I can point. I'm just not pointing it as straight as I'd like to. And I think that's where Ben Hogan got to. And he got to the point where he could hit it as straight as he could point, but he also knew that because there's many facets to pointing it at that moment when you strike it, that he was never ever going to be able to point it right at the hole every time. Because we're talking about, you've got the amount of energy is a variable. So we want to swing that. The reason I like to get people in where they can really wallop the ball is if you hit it all the way on the side of you, then you can deliver more certain amount of energy. So that gives you the depth of your shot. Then there's also the trajectory and so on. So these three dimensions I want to outline here. Any change in any one of these three dimensions will change where it's pointed. So that's really the difficulty of the game. Now we don't want a swing motion. I'll cover the first one. It's really where the center of the swing motion, which can kind of be seen in terms of balance right in just outside us right here actually. It's not even part of us, it's just outside our sternoclavicular joint here. But it's really the center of the swing could be seen as the whole left arm and the club shaft line. But this is the balance center. So we need to have this in a location I would see as it's balanced first of all. But the distance that is from the ball, the degree to which it's on top of the ball, affects our trajectory a great deal. The more it's on top, the lower I'll hit the ball. The more it's underneath this way, the higher I'll hit the ball. So that affects our trajectory, which ultimately affects our distance a great deal. And then the other main two dimensions are the ball position. So this line here, if I call it a baseline, where Jack Nicklaus and Ben Hogan both have said they played everything off the left heel. Now, you might see them hit a shot where it looks like it's closer to their back foot, but they're seeing that as left heel is straight. So if they want to deal with a slope or something that's going to send the ball to the left, they might move the ball back to deal with that. These are just baselines. So front of the ball on the left heel, and then this line signifies my distance from the ball. So I see the left side as being the orientator or the straight. Straight versus if I move this forward to the left, ball's going to go more to the right. If I move it back, I'm pointing it more to the left. And then the right side, since I want to hit everything on my trail side, the distance that this is from the ball affects how much on my side I can hit it. So if I get this a long way from the ball with a short club, it's very unlikely that I can hit it all the way on my side, because by the time I get to the ball, it's going to be more on my left side. And so you just have to find a balance for you as to how close to the ball you can stand without being in your own way, so to speak. But generally speaking, most people I see stand too far to really be able to squash the ball. And then they don't understand the role of ball position as it pertains to where the ball goes. They just think, well, if I put it back in my stance, I hit it lower. Well, all things being equal, if you hit the ball with the same quality from here, it'll go further to the right. So I'll shoot that. You see I'm still parallel left, I'm on that other line there. And if I stay the same distance from the ball, but I hit this ball on the side of me, it'll go well to the right of that target.
But so, I mean, the right foot, I mean, I know this is quite a sort of there's a lot that goes on here, but where the right foot is has a major effect on the trajectory of the ball.
Sure.
In turn, obviously, that moves that balance centre forwards, which...
Yeah, the closer that right foot gets, if you're still in balance, it will move this more on top of the ball, so you'll hit it lower.
But there's a level of caution involved in moving it back, because back too much means it's very hard to keep the club to the right of you and get a good strike on the ball.
Well, this would be a good time to say we could. I've thought about all of this because it pertains particularly with the higher level golfers that I'm watching when I'm working with them. So somebody like Cameron Beckman, for example, when I watch him play, I can sort of see where and how the ball's going to fly by how he's set up, because his swing is so repetitive. He does such a good job. In fact, it's amazing how consistent he gets to that position where it's pointed. So really where he is really easily seen as to where it's going to come out. And Steve Elkington was exactly the same way. I could be 50 yards away on an angle and see where he was going to hit the ball almost, because I'm seeing this kind of relationship. At the risk of scaring everybody out there about how difficult the game is in terms of the where, everything affects where it's pointed. That's why I'm saying you can't afford to be careful and manage your swing. You just can't afford to, because there's too many other things you've got to deal with. But all of that, everything can be dealt with much more easily if you see yourself and the club as one thing. So rather than be thinking, oh, now I've got to manage how far I am away from the ball and where my ball position is, that would be no different to managing the swing in that way. So,
but it's also if you've got the freedom in your motion, if you've always got the uninterrupted freedom in your motion, you will build an intuitive ability to find those positions if you approach the game that way.
That's right.